huge amount of sense here for LWX, and we'll have to see if they can go for something similar with this heavy dive comp to try and disrupt that pick.
But I'm super curious if we see a Gala Ezreal. We talked about this earlier in the day, that Gala and Ezreal haven't always paired hand in hand. This is not his style of champion.
Yeah, I actually kind of curious where he'll go. We need to remember that when they had Betty, they were a team willing to go towards picks like the Senna as well, so that's something that's available.
Well, yeah.
I was going to say the Kai'Sa, because we just saw this super high dive composition from RNG that really put a wrench into the works for LWX. You just double down on this here and start going in with maybe the Nocturne again, you go with this volley, and you can have this team that just wants to get on top of you and murder everything.
And for anyone who, isn't a longtime viewer of the LPL, Kai'Sa is Gala's champion. This was a champion he was prominent for, especially in 2019. And as Dagger just said, they're already setting up for this composition that wants to just dive together. And even before Gala coming into this roster, this was the sort of composition that RNG loved to run.
Yeah.
And now it's a little bit tough for FPX, because ideally what I'd like to see them go towards is something that can reset these fights, where maybe we go towards the likes of a Gangplank, you get something like the Azir in the mid lane, but they don't really feel like FPX champions, especially that Azir doesn't really work, but at least the Tahm Kench there will help in keeping some of this backline.
Something we saw a lot in 2019 with LWX and Chris, it was the Varus Tahm Kench lane. A different feeling, but still one of Chris' old champions coming into Game 2.
The weird thing about this is it opens up a lot of potential supports for RNG. Tons of mages and enchanter supports obviously do amazingly up against Tahm Kench.
Which Ming plays, right?
Yeah, exactly. And what the thing FPX does have is they will have options to support their side lanes more in mid-game, where you can always hover with the Tahm Kench Abyssal Voyage and make sure RNG can't find anything in those side lanes.
I was going to say, I don't think we'll see the Bard come through here for Ming, but it could work super well in just keeping everyone locked up for FPX. But we are going to see that Lee Sin come in, so again, this is just doubling down on we want to get in, we want to fight, and even seeing if Xiaolong Bao can have these big controlling moments in the early game to set up RNG where they are already in the lead to go for these dives.
And moving forward, I'd like to see RNG pick up a mid laner on 4 for the fact that Volibear is still a flex pick, so FPX is not going to have any good options to pick on 4-5 if they don't know where that champion's going to go. We already saw them flash the Rumble, which would be really strong if they want to go for this, straight up 5v5 teamfight comp. Xiaohu was really good on the Rumble last year and almost really good against these type of immobile champions like Tahm Kench, where, sure, you'll be in a teamfight, he might devour the Ashe, he's still going to be sitting on the equalizer himself.
And I mean, it's a lot of champions that you can work with that as well. I mean, even if you wanted to go towards something like the Ornn in the top lane, still works super well against the Tahm Kench. So there's a bunch of options here for RNG to try and still play towards that Tahm Kench. And I think, again, just doubling down on your point, going towards these enchanter supports makes so much sense here for him.
So far, a lot up and available. It's going to be the Nautilus band away here against Ming, his most played champion, both in spring and summer so far. As RNG opting to get rid of the TF themselves this time, the Ornn gets taken away instead of opting in for it. So we'll see, the Volibear could be exposed as top.
I'm sorry, just,
You're okay,
they would have to be pulling off some crazy shenanigans to put it mid or support, but just saying, it is LPL, and we have seen these types of shenanigans in the past.
I'm curious actually to see here if Ming goes back towards the Morgana, which has been like the Ming pick, because if you can Black Shield the likes of this Enchanted Crystal Arrow, you can even pop that onto the Kai'Sa before you go into these fights and really set up for this Kai'Sa to be the main carry. I actually wanted to see if they're going to leave the Ornn open, FPX pick it, and then you goes towards that Kayle so you get this Kayle Kai'Sa combo, but it's not going to be there.
But the kind of funny thing is that for FPX in the past, they've been looking towards this Karma pick. This would be a takeaway. Also, a Ming pick that we've seen over the years a lot.
And also, we need to remember that, Volibear does well up against the Ornn if they go that route like Dagda was talking about. So not a lot of great answers to Volibear on the top side, but Khan is a Fiora player.
True, but you've got multi-flex here for RNG. You can still have that Karma go towards mid for Xiaohu. You can still have the Volibear go in towards the jungle. So
I mean, we have the Lee Sin, so it'd have to be Volibear like support or something along those lines.
But yeah, I mean, look, if you want to go towards this Fiora, it will do so well against the Volibear.
Yeah, and it's obviously going to outscale it, and it's great because these are the types of compositions we started to see towards the end of last year, where you would have a Tahm Kench plus whatever AD carry in the mid lane hovering for a split pusher doing its work in side lanes, and FPX maybe going for a 1-3-1 composition. Nope, just going to go for the
you get Doombee's Rumble. I mean, Doombee's Rumble is world class. Everyone's seen this on the international stage. It was how they dove bottom lane over and over. And set up here for Doombee's successes. We got to find out what's going mid, what's going support as the final pick for RNG.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting, especially where, Karma will do fine in the Rumble. You will be able to just push him out with your mantra Qs, but maybe Xiaohu can also opt into something like an Orianna as well and just scale up and have more team fighting with the Lee Sin. But Corki goes right in the same vein as that.
Yeah, exactly. It's all about the team fight here for RNG. Corki slots into that wonderfully, can push out, and just make sure that he's able to have a nice farm lane here against Doomby. I'm curious to see, though, how RNG are going to deal with Khan on this Fiora, because every time we've seen Khan bring out this Fiora, he has been absolutely monstrous.
But we need to remember that I don't expect Khan to win the lane, straight up from level 1. Volibear definitely having a much stronger early game than Fiora. All the times we've seen it in LPL, it has kind of blown up because of some certain shenanigans going on. So I want to see if RNG do impact the top side. But typically when you draft Enchanter supports, they do demand more attention or support and vision, because obviously they're very squishy if the enemy jungle does want to come into your lane.
So first walk me through FPX's draft though, because we've changed up, not dramatically, but very big differences on both these comps.
I think it's, look, you've got Khan on this Fiora in the top lane. It's about wave clear and the rest of the composition. And at least having a strong 4v4 where you've got this Enchanted Crystal Arrow to start things off, but you're able to keep multiple people safe with the Tahm Kench. So a lot of it is going to be on Khan creating pressure and then seeing if you can find potential picks using that Ashe Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Well, we need to remember, right, they do have a ton of early game pressure.
Yeah.
So they're going to be able to just roam with this Rumble in the early game and still look for these 4v4s and really come out ahead, because Ashe and Rumble very potent in the early game.
And looking towards RNG as well, look, this is a composition that when we hit the mid game is super damn strong. Like the 2-item spike for Corki as well alongside that Kai'Sa, paired with the volley who's already finished that Triforce, that's a bit of a struggle.
Yeah, it's going to be a bit tough, but
We don't normally have intros like this, so bear with us, ladies and gentlemen.
I was waiting for that for so long, because it would be so awkward to start up this long, like, okay, the wind conditions go, gotta take a step back for the really intense, poses.
I will say, welcome back to Summoner's Rift. RNG, what a game one after we slugged it out back and forth a little bit. As we enter Summoner's Rift, continue your conversation. Lyric, you're about to start something.
It's really interesting because I actually really like how the Colonel represents this, because I agree. I was going to say, on the side of FPX, it looks like you have a stronger early game, but you also outscale the side of RNG, right? Because, sure, you don't outscale them in the straight-up 5v5, but you're going to have the Fiora who's going to dominate anyone in the side lane later on, and your early game potency with the Rumble is just so strong. So for FPX, you're kind of like a jack-of-all-trades sort of composition. We expect to see them play with Doomby's pressure early on, and then later in the game, it's going to be all about Khan.
Okay, interestingly enough, because we've got double AD carry here for RNG, the Enchanter support in the Karma to back up, with the Ardent, with the Athenes. As we get towards mid-game, Dagda, you're talking a lot about those 2-3 items that come through, and as we know, what we've seen from the Corkis, we've seen a lot more of the Manamune build, the Trinity Force, those 2 items being big at the 20-minute mark.
And that's what they'll be trying to work towards here as well, is that, look, if FPX aren't able to exploit that early game and start getting some of these side lane turrets down, Khan is not going to be at his full potential at that stage. And when we start looking towards Dragons, and especially as Gala and Xiao who start to pick up a few of these items, they can look for these fights where they are stronger and can enact their game.
And while you are mentioning Khan, we've actually noticed Grasp with the Undying here on the Fiora, take it into Grasp from New on the Volibear.
Yeah, so going to be a much stronger rune for trading in lane. So maybe Khan wanting to go for a more aggressive route, which you said he probably would want to do. Of course, also going to have Demolish in there as well, so going to destroy towers like Dagda said.
I thought, though, for New, he would still go for press the attack, especially if you can start to set Khan behind, just shoving that win condition super far back for FPX. Have Xiaolongbao play towards that top side. You've got great setup there, and just look to burst out Khan over and over.
But it does show me that potentially they do just want to play around the strength of their bot lane, which you'd already set up coming, into game, and see if they can just get a ton of plates onto Gala and Ming and start to snowball with this Kai'Sa.
Gala, who's also gone for Halo Blades, which we saw a lot here when we saw Kai'Sa before, as those trades up top getting a bit more aggressive. But FPX, Tien is already proxying the wave. This is very much World's FPX of 2019. The wave going to get cleared. The wave getting pushed in. As teleport going to be used defensively. This is from Xiaohu.
And this is standard 2019 LPL, Rumble in the mid lane, Tahm Kench and bot setting up these sorts of dives.
I agree, but they just took the wave from LWX. So he's now set behind, but in comparison to Gala and Ming, who have already hit that level 3 point, so you're kind of hurting your bottom lane a little bit.
At the same time, you did get a TP out of that, right?
True.
So now you're going to be able to look for a repeat play, because we know Rumble's still going to push the wave, and this time they aren't going to have anyone to answer unless they want New to then blow a TP, which, I mean, I'd still favor that for the side of FPX.
I want to see, though, if we will get a little bit more pressure towards Xiaolongbao towards that mid to try and stop these potential plays. If he's just able to sit there, not even to like try and gank, but at least burn some of these summoner spells onto Doinby, could make that gank potential a little bit more difficult.
Doing it
to
again.
operate.
I told you, Hysterics, like, you burned the TP the first time. Now we're going to see if New's going to be forced to burn a TP as well. If not, all the cards are with FPX making this dive work.
Xiaohu's still dealing with the mid wave. Gala and Ming this time paying a bit more respect as Tien to put down the damage. The tether does fly through, but Doinby starts burning them to a crisp. As Ming with the poke damage alongside Gala will hurt him, but turret plate's now activated, and FPX with 4 people start pulling out the pressure play.
Xiaohu now going to be able to gank onto
This
these
is a
guys.
flash.
Double flash is going to be needed.
I mean, Tien maybe turns it around, maybe not. He's sticking here for the time being. A quick draw over the wall, and that's that.
When all said and done, though, okay, so Doomby's just lost that pressure in mid. He's got the CS and experience that's gone there. You've nicked away from LWX as well, but top side.
Top side is getting pressure from Xiaolongbao. Flash from New. This is going to be first blood with Sonic Wave Resonating Strike. One more hit needed. Xiaolongbao has to flash away, which shouldn't have been needed, but it's still first blood to RNG.
At the same time, I don't feel like this is really Khan's fault, because even going back to Dagda just pointing out that that bot lane play wasn't worth it, it looks a lot more like it's on the execution from FPX to me of Doinby and Tien just being willing to show on that wave so early, give RNG the room to back away. Even New was backed off topside, ready to TP if he was needed. So it's like, the execution not there from FPX ends up so their bot lane loses out on bot side, and then Khan is able to be punished on top side as well.
And as we said, Doomby losing out mid as well, because yes, he managed to get that experience in the bottom lane through the wave, but it was shared. So you end up losing it a little bit there. So overall, it's RNG coming out not only when it comes to the experience, the gold, but also on that play top side as well. So right now, FPX, this is not the early game start that we wanted from them.
And RNG are fine with just taking this game at a very slow pace. We already said, hey, you have the Corki, you have the Kaisa. You are clearly playing for these later game team fights, the 2-3 item power spike for the Corki, and things going fine. You don't need to make a play as Xiaolongbao despite being on the Lee Sin. It is just more about covering the spot lane.
Plus, we've seen Kaisers in the LPL fall behind in lane, then never recover for the fighters. Gala with a better laning phase means that also Ming gets that first, second item in Arden and accelerates him in this game as well. As Xiaolongbao going to be spotted out bottom side in front of the Dragon. Chris rotating to add a bit of pressure with Tien, while RNG have brought Ming up here as well.
Yeah, look, they're not going to try and start this Dragon RNG. That is like just signing your death note right there. So instead, they're just trying to keep some vision on it. They know that Tien is going to start this up, and it's more about at least trying to keep some control of that bottom side river to help out Gala and spot out if Doomby's going for more rounds.
Yeah, and we're going to see Chris kind of posture, but I don't think he's going to be able to do anything. Like you said, RNG aren't going to be able to do this one up. I really think they should just keep trading, just keep farming up, getting more gold, waiting for that later point. The only window they might have to play around early is when Xiaohu does get that package, and then maybe we could see them force a Rift Herald play on top side, but at the same time, since FPX do have the Tom Kench, oh
Here
my
we
God,
go.
again.
Equalizer's available as well, Jansen. Doomby, all he has to do is lay it down onto Gala. That's the target, but at half health, the damage comes through pretty quick as Gala flashes away, but end of the line, not going to be enough as TP from New. He has his own ult into 3 people with the Stormbringer in the middle. Now Khan has to commit his own. He has the Grand Challenge available, uses it, but can't get the final procs. LWX at Xiaolongbao. It's a big pick here from FPX.
Xiaohu's on the back line, though.
He has the poke, but does he have the mana? Chris flashes over the wall in a choke, though. This is where RNG wants them. LWX burning his own. They're on the escape path. RNG needs Xiaohu to get over the wall with the phosphorus bomb. The poke is there. He Valkyries into harm's way. Yu is spotted out as well. And the bear is hungry. Yogi's ready. And Khan goes into harm's way again. As New needs the follow-up here from Xiaohu. The phosphorus bomb might have sealed the deal as Tien comes in as well. Phase rush to get the auto. Xiaohu is a pro. Thumbs up in the air.
And overall, great anticipation coming out from RNG. I mean, FPX probably should have waited for that Champion Crystal
it's not
Arrow.
over. Hang on. Xiaolongbao's joined the fray over the wall.
No, he doesn't want that.
Okay.
He doesn't want it.
All right, Lyric, continue.
But still, RNG anticipating the play. It is the obvious play that FPX's comp wants to make, but still not having all the tools necessary because, sure, we have the equalizer now, but you're still not able to lock them down under turret because there is no Enchanted Crystal Arrow.
Well, there's no CC really at all here. You don't have a CC for a jungler. Even your support is this Tahm Kench, so you're not able to do anything to hold Gala in place. And New with a beautiful teleport. But, I mean, Lyra called it in the first play. We just see it again here for New. Standing back, making sure he's not being engaged on, can come into these teleport plays nice and early. And then, I mean, look, then the whole rigmarole starts where it's run around and just see who he can pick off as
What a
this
yak
fight
in his
starts.
axe.
Oh, actually, on that bottom left corner as well, it looks like FLICKR went towards RNG too after this play, so RNG are picking up massive amounts of advantages in this early game.
Yeah, and, you know, for RNG, let's see how this ends up with Xiaohu getting another kill. Are we going to get to see the
We
bro
get
play?
to watch the...
We don't get the bro play, but for RNG with the Rift Herald, I would still prefer to see them open up mid. It really is just the best turret to open up, especially when there's wave clear. But I actually expect them to end up putting the gold on Gala.
And I mean, look, as you said, it would be a little bit better to try and create that long lane in mid, but definitely Gala is going to be a massive carry. But I think as well, I mean, Xiaohu can do just as much with it, so we'll have to see where RNG end up trying to put this.
You have to remember RNG really accelerated here 9 minutes into the game with the 2K gold lead after that fight. And you guys talked heavily about how the mid-game influences late, how those 2-3 items come across. Xiaohu has that pickaxe and the tier nice and early to kick this game off as there's no grand challenge there.
And the problem is that if FPX start to fall behind, well, RNG can just take fight after fight. Khan needs to be in the lead so they can at least set up the tempo advantages to start using this side lane pressure. But if you're behind off of all these misplays in the early stages, Khan won't get a chance to get up and rolling.
But at the same time, I don't feel like it'll be like too dire of a situation for FPX, at least in regards to Khan. It is dire in my mind in the sense that we just don't see like pure split push working in Season 10, right?
Yeah.
Just because we've talked about how neutral objective is so much more important, as shown by what Xiaolongbao is doing now.
Oh, good dodge away from the Enchanted Crystal Arrow. Herald's down and RNG have 4. There is a TP, but it's on Xiaohu instead. That arrow does fly up, and the Herald I don't think got a charge.
No, it didn't.
And like I said, even going for the play here.
Xiaolongbao Sonic waved in, or rather safeguarded in. He's going to be exhausted out, runs away. Tien misses his ult as well. Sloppy play from both teams. Xiaolongbao's lucky he got out.
Overall, though, this isn't the type of play we want to see out from RNG. They have no reason to look for this sort of side lane play right now. Even rotating Xiaohu over I don't think makes a lot of sense. Using it in mid, because think about all the plays FPX have made, right? It's been with Doinby roaming. If Doinby's forced to catch wave under his second tier turret, there's nothing he could do.
And they could have just held it for this dragon. You just use it to create that mid pressure, and then even if FPX turn towards the dragon, you still get that mid lane turret.
Tether here, teleport following up. Gala has the Hail of Blades and a bit of damage himself. Xiaohu's finding his way in. Chris has to go great health, but it won't be enough. And even under turret, LWX only manages to survive. Another big pick here from RNG. They're getting more proactive.
And they probably should be able to just translate this one into a dragon. It might be a bit hard since Xiaohu does need to recall now, but yeah, actually, Chris is going to come up in time to where it might actually be hard for RG to start this one up.
Yeah, I don't know, because you do have the Abyssal Voyage there that should deliver him there. So, yeah, you can see already Tien moving across. He feels confident to try and start this one up. The only thing is maybe that health bar onto LWX. A little bit worried about it.
You know what this goes back to, too, is what we came into the series saying that RNG and Xiaolongbao especially will look for kills for the sake of kills, to where FPX are typically the one that translates those into objectives.
I'm starting to think that predicting for next week EDG over RNG could be a mistake. But sorry, Dagda, what were you going to say?
I was just going to say, they haven't started up this dragon fast enough on FPX's side. Now LWX is at least he'll get his health back, but definitely a mana disadvantage. And RNG have already taken over river control, so this dragon will go the way of RNG.
But we do need to remember that Doinby does have the equalizer. And I guess you're right, since LWX isn't here, there's nothing they could do, which they are still in a point where they could look for fights.
I mean, Tien over the wall, wants to steal it, doesn't find it. With Xiaolongbao in the security, he's out. Chris eats him up and sends him back out as well. Doinby shoves a wave mid, and next dragon, we're going into a Cloud Rift.
We're so focused on this bottom side of the map, though, we haven't really touched on what's happening top side, because Khan has already started to take over that lane. 20 CS lead for himself. The Ravenous Hydra now completed means that that push power is going to be super strong. And as he starts to move in towards this Triforce next, things are going to take a very bad turn for New.
But overall, Dagda, isn't this what we expected?
Yeah.
Khan on the Fiora, scaling up, getting some levels under his belt, going to start slowly winning out this matchup. At least New does have that Bramble Vest, but coming back to bot, I really want to see if Xiaolongbao can make something happen here.
Minion wave going to be in the way. Crisp and LWX pathing up towards the river. But they're going to be walking back into lane. Kick needed, no flash, but a Sonic Wave that needs to connect. Crisp is walking in, spotted out. It's a two-man kick on the 80 carry who gets gobbled up by Crisp. But can he survive? Even with a flash, LWX is dead. The Enchanted Cross Arrow means nothing, and Gala picks up kill number 2 with the killer instinct on Crisp. Xiaolongbao with his second as well. And that again is RNG snowballing while FPX have to play top.
Yeah, and I'm actually surprised New actually decided to even run back under this turret, putting himself at risk. Doinby had to go back mid. They don't have a wave, so RNG going to win out so much.
Yeah, they'll be able to get this bottom lane turret. All that gold being funneled into Gala as well. This Kai'Sa is going to be so far accelerated.
Yeah.
And now you're looking at RNG where, okay, when this next Rift Tower comes up, they can start to play towards it, already rotating Gala up towards that. And yes, Khan will get this top lane structure, will answer back a certain amount. But definitely with the added pressure this new Rift Tower can create, RNG can look to crack open mid lane.
Yeah, and I'm interested to see if FPX would want to contest for something like a Herald. LWX does still have room to move over, and you know, Gala is already here now, but Xiaolongbao's recall is actually really late.
We'll be getting back on the rift shortly. Xiaohu going to pick up the wave meanwhile. Just a quick note before we get towards the objective control, and contest, I should say. 134 CS at 14 minutes here for Xiaohu. He's backing now with a completed cull. That Trinity Force will be pretty close. The Fade should be at least a pickup. He picks up 2 of them. Hang on. Sheen instead, there we go, as a dagger in hand as well.
It's actually funny that, like, we came into this expecting, okay, maybe around, like, the 25-minute mark when RNG has 2.5 items I want to fight, but as Dagda mentioned earlier, they are extremely accelerated. We're going to hit the 2-item mark at, like, 18 minutes.
Yeah.
And this is where RNG are going to feel great taking these straight-up 5v5s.
But they're late to this bottom lane play. I mean, they haven't really got their lane assignments down. FPX are here, so this tower goes down for free with nothing happening elsewhere in the map.
Yeah, the fact that they wouldn't just go up and say, okay, well, they had tempo, they went there first, let's take the Rift Herald as we push mid, doesn't make a lot of sense to me.
I thought they'd get something. I thought the game plan here for RNG was, Galam, Ming, get yourselves the top lane. Let's try and get down this structure. And then even if FPX are still going for that bottom lane play, well, we'll just answer turret top, get Rift, go mid, yada, yada, yada. We look great. But instead, FPX now are actually getting a little bit of an advantage here.
This is the dive beneath the turret for Xiao, who has double buffs and has a bit of damage, but versus 4, how hard? With the teleport used, Khan goes in for the grand challenge. Flash out from Xiao, who gets hit with the arrow and nailed on down by Crisp. FPX with a pick in the inner turret. Now want to take this down as well.
And they will get the structure, so that's 2 towers now. That top lane tower is still standing because New didn't finish it off before he left.
And I love it because we highlighted in draft that, like, these were the plays we saw last year, right? Tahm Kench hovering for a side with the Abyssal Voyage. The Ashe Arrow just compounds all of it. And this is the Fiora that we want to see be enabled.
She's definitely been enabled right now, and Khan is going to have gotten a bunch of gold off of that. I know he's at 0-2-2, but still, having that 145 CS, a bunch of that turret plate as well, he's very quickly going to be getting to those 2 items. And the reason why we're talking about Khan kind of needed a bit of time to scale is, yes, it's still off of 2 items, but they're so expensive that he needs a bit more time than everyone else. But he's well keeping pace for getting towards those items at a nice level.
The most fed member here of FPX. You see LWX not too far behind, who was able to push the turret and get a bit of plating himself. Has played the Ruin King, heading towards what seems to be the IE or Essence Reaver, of course. Has been a pretty standard build, while I'm tracking Gala, who was accelerated much earlier, almost to the Guinsoo's Rage Blade pre-20 minutes.
And now we see Dragon's going to come up soon. I wouldn't expect FPX to have Khan rotate over and contest. You would just think, okay, RNG, you're going to be able to get the neutral objective. It is a Fiora, she's going to stick the side lane, but this is FPX, and honestly, you never really know.
I'm curious to see what build Gala's going to go, because I feel like if he ends up going itemizing more into the AP, you kind of give a nice item choice for FPX where they can go for like Hex Shrinkers and stuff and do relatively well in team fights. But
Doinby going to be taken down to half health. A good little redemption here to heal him up, but that's the damage coming out of Xiaolongbao, who has Black Cleaver. As Dragon's going to be started here by RNG. FPX behind the pit.
And I would think that FPX are just going to look for a similar play as before, is where Tien jumps in the pit, you can have Chris behind it, but no.
Not there. Enchanted Cross Arrow is going to start the engage again. The red carpet laid on down. Dragon resets a little back in the pit as TP's there. It is secured by RNG, while Xiaohu with package can line them up, but the threat is enough. FPX will leave for now. RNG will do the same.
RNG got what they wanted. They don't need to try and force the play any further. They're still ramping, still waiting for these items to complete, and now they're looking at that Cloud Soul point where they can start to really put pressure into FPX, because you've got the likes of Corki that's going to work wonders with that, and as well as that Kai'Sa.
I even like the lane setup they have where they just have Xiaohu answering Khan, because it's like, hey, he pushes in, you just Q and E, and the wave is gone. So
Sure.
you're not actually going to interact with Khan at all, which is what you want as RNG.
Especially when you got a Trinity Force now picked up here on Xiaohu. Also note that Gala should be backing here. That's a Guinsoo's Rage Blade. So 2 items now established. Pre-20 minutes, as we talked about Trinity Force for new with the Bramble Vest alongside that as well.
And I actually love you talking about Kai'Sa's itemization, but itemization in general against RNG's comp is going to be so hard because mixed damage Corki, mixed damage Kai'Sa, mixed damage Volley Bear, and then an AD jungler and an AP support. So there's actually no great option for you to just want to index into one of those.
I feel like as long as Gala still goes towards that AD route, though, because I feel like if you end up going super into the AP here as Kai'Sa, you do have some mixed damage, but at least it lends itself more towards those Hex Drinkers coming through.
Yep.
We're going to see anyway. Mid lane push here for RNG.
Okay, with the Herald and 4 members grouped up, look where New is. He's going down to answer Khan instead of joining this play. Turret just going to be secured. FPX not overstepping their bounds. And the map opens up wider here for RNG at 20 minutes with a 3k gold lead still established. Baron coming up and a Dragon in 3 minutes 20.
And as long as RNG can hold on to this mid lane turret, they're going to be pretty okay to deal with Khan, because Khan can't actually push too far into these side lanes for fear of the rest of RNG just collapsing on him. So as long as that mid lane structure still stands, RNG are going to be all right.
Well, and at the same time for FPX, as long as they're showing a presence in mid lane, then Khan can actually push out far despite the turret being open. As well as we've said that the Abyssal Voyage will always give the threat for Khan to be able to look for certain types of kills, but I like the place RNG are at. They just keep taking it slow. You just wait for the next dragon, and that's where your play is. It does feel like the pressure is on FPX to not necessarily find a pick, but coordinate a mid lane push with Khan pressuring in bot side.
Oh, you can see the Colonel is not looking happy for FPX right now. Nearly 80% already. And look, I mean, we talked about this early game being strong for FPX and really where we want to see them make these plays, but those missteps in the early game are really coming back to punish them now.
And I mean, if we're talking about FPX throughout this series, missteps has been the name. It was Khan in game 1. It was issues with how FPX was setting up when it felt like they could have a clear window to bring back game 1. This time around, going towards the bottom lane, read well by RNG and capitalized so much quicker. And I'll tell you one thing's for sure, RNG fans will be rejoicing if they're able to close this out to continue the lead, head towards those dragons, secure a soul, and start looking even bigger in this series.
And I really thought that this was the series where FPX were going to win it. They're going to get themselves back to 5-2, pushing right the way up into that 3rd place spot. But it really doesn't feel like FPX are getting to grips with Summer.
I do like that you pointed out that you thought FPX would win it because...
Oh, no.
I was going to say, you
no.
gentlemen predicting FPX with clearly the big brain lyric here. Going in the favor of RNG. Gonna hopefully keep the lead those predictions.
Did you flip a coin again, or was this one well thought out?
My heart flipped a coin.
Okay. The Xiaohu apologist, right?
You know, it was because I predicted Gala to come on the roster, and I wanted to see him win.
Yeah, okay.
So basically what I've learned is that Lyric is a ceiling fan, where he's just the fan of whatever the highest ceiling of any of these teams are. So as long as he thinks RNG with Xiaohu can be really good, he's just going to vote for them every time.
But look at where RNG are here, gentlemen, because FPX are going to get flanked by New again. The Wombo set on up Bengala to take the kill. Killer Instinct is such an oozy play, but he has to flash away because too over ambitious. Xiaohu joins the fray. RNG take the pick, get out. They burn a summoner, but still work.
And that was the biggest brain play I've ever seen. They go so deep into the side of FPX's jungle. What are the chances that you would imagine anyone is there, wrap around, find that pick? And Dragon's coming up in 26 seconds.
Yeah, I'm blinking. You missed that play. LWX was just gone before your very eyes. And now, as he said, they can just turn towards this Dragon. Not going to be any sort... Well, you may have FPX, if they can posture correctly, get there just about in time, as LWX is now up and we'll have the speed up, but it's still going to be RNG with control around the objective.
Every time one of these plays happens, the kills are going to Gala or Xiaohu. Xiaohu's almost on his 3rd item with Mirror Mana. Gala already picked up the Stinger and is heading towards Nash's. I mean, they got to stop feeding these carries that are going to be monsters from here on out.
Yeah, so New's not here and he doesn't have ultimate up. If FPX can be super decisive and pull a trigger right now.
Tien collateral damage, he's out. It's secured, sole point here. Decision making not there.
I mean, to be fair, they didn't actually have vision, right? So it would have to be like really great intuition for them to be like, okay, some members aren't here and there's no ultimates, let's just go. Or I'd say the typical LPL playstyle of like, hey, there's champions, fight. So, but sadly, we didn't get the LPL moment.
Look, the LPL is just about firing it in the chance that they aren't there, and then we can sort out those details later. But FPX are bitten twice shy. They're going to step away. We'll give the third dragon over towards RNG. And now it's really getting to the point where it's like, how do FPX fight back? They don't have control of these side lanes. They don't have control of anywhere on the map right now. So Khan can't put that pressure down. And RNG can have the Baron and this next dragon to fight over as well.
And this is the awkward thing of, so one, you've drafted this 1-4 composition that doesn't actually have any disengage, so it is more reliant on like your 4 being ahead, which you did draft in early game core 4, and if they were ahead, that's where Tahm Kench could lean. Now you're very reliant on Khan finding some kind of advantage in his own way with RNG kind of misstepping a bit.
Honestly, I wasn't the biggest fan of the Tahm Kench when I saw it in draft. I would have preferred a Braum here. I think a Braum could have offered that disengage.
Hang on. Wow, instant QSS here from Gala. We'll just walk away. Was it QSS? No, it was a McHale's. Excuse me, from Ming.
Going back to your point, Dagda, the thing that I can understand, right, is that if your 4 is ahead like it should be, then the Tahm Kench works. But yeah, those 3 bot lane dives.
It was like, oh great, we're getting back to FPX of the last year, but it wasn't the same execution, clean execution, I should say, of FPX in 2019 as Chris' favorite champion sitting 1-3-1, and speaking of champions, we're getting a comparison between mid. Xiaohu has a rapid fire cannon.
And you've got a Morello. That's all you've got for Doomby. He's sitting on Oblivion Orb as well, but like, you're 3-item Corki against Doomby, who is 2 levels behind. It is not looking good for FPX at all.
He's got 2 items there.
Thank God he picked up the Leandries, because I was going to say, don't know if any of you have played Rumble out there, but Rumble actually feels really bad without the Leandries being able to, stack up and get that increased damage over time. And we actually even see New going, a much tankier route, so that's going to come in handy later on.
Gentlemen, here we go. We started up the Baron, and Khan does have TP, but he's on the bottom side. Trying to force it out.
Yeah, I think that's just the play you want to make.
Chris actually going in. Who's he brought? Tien, but RNG turn immediately. Chris goes golden to try and buy time as New. Has a good choke here. Stormbringer into that said choke. Absorbs damage, slashes away Khan. Runs into the backside as well. A great riposte, but he's kicked away. Well, into the backline. Gala takes down the Fiora. The trades come through, but Gala is left alone and will have to suffer that as FPX win this fight, and now Baron is theirs.
RNG weren't able to do anything. They couldn't get in on towards FPX, and Khan with Tien making the play. Now, though, Baron is still here. There's no jungler for RNG.
Xiaohu does have TP, though, so he is going to be able to get full HP and come back in.
Needs to come in now at 2K. They're trying to delay, but New and Ming won't be enough. The poke comes through. The Baron secured here for FPX as they try and make their return. Xiaohu is racing, though. The Sky Splitter doesn't zone them off, but Xiaohu at level 15 needs to poke them down. Spots out 3, has the damage to deal with them as Ming is turned on, but Tien has so much damage. Xiaohu's in the middle of 4. But FPX already won this out. There's nothing he can do.
And that was just absolutely beautiful from Tien. We actually saw a similar thing in game 1. Great to see him, stay consistent. And now FPX are going to be in a position where Khan can split push aggressively, and the other 4 will be having pressure in mid lane as well.
I cannot believe that RNG lost that fight, though. We've been bigging up the team fight this whole time, and all you see is them just get dismantled by not being able to do anything.
But it's the coordination once again, right?
Yeah.
Because it looked great at first. It's like, what is Crisp and Tien doing going in the middle? They start to see TPs come out. The other 4 back off as New sees, we're going to see here actually, New's going to find an amazing opportunity, in my opinion, to look for this engage. And everything looks great right now. 2 come in middle of all of you. You're going to kind of back up because the members of FPX are here, but I feel like everyone now should just go forward with New, not start walking back and leave him in an awkward position.
And that's the big problem there, is even at the very beginning, if that call had just been RNG, go in, New jumps onto LWX, slam dunk onto the Ashe, they can kill her off, and then followed through with the rest of the team. But that indecision really hurting RNG there.
And still, to praise FPX, really good ultimate coming out from Duimbi in that fight, and even like the lockdown from LWX and all the AoE from Tien, as we even saw, eventually picking off Ming as well. So now FPX have some options We set up the side lane play, though, and they're grouped as 5.
Package is available for Xiaohu. A window available to all Corki plays.
And Dragon is up, so RNG are going to be looking to try and fight. Okay.
Okay, and Shadow Crystal Arrow, though, does whiff as well, so 2 big key factors of the fight as Tien jumps in the back and pit once again. Cloud Soul denied. Tien was also kicked on out, and RNG can't claim that soul this game.
How do you mess that up? You actually kicked him out. How do you not secure that dragon yourself? Shallow Bow crumbling to the pressure.
You had to brag, didn't you? You just had to open your mouth and say, RNG, we're going to win this.
And now, with the Baron buff, I mean, everyone has to go back to the base to defend for RNG. FPX are sieging like nobody's business.
I just want to apologize to all RNG fans out there. I believed.
And that's where you failed. That's the reason RNG will always build you up to just tear you down. But now RNG need to try and defend this. There's the ultimate.
That equalizer, though, past the back line of the turret so nicely. Shalabal does have his flash and kickback available, but FPX don't show any signs of stopping for now. LWX, though, poked down by Xiaohu. Gala ulties in. They want this pick. LWX flashes away, but Chris takes his own life as Gala picks it on up. Khan zoned away from the fight, and FPX stayed a bit too long.
And this actually shows, a very important thing that we haven't really touched on that much, is the fact that you don't have any hard engage coming in from the side of RNG, right? You don't have any, true lockdown. It is all of your members just jumping forward. But if FPX are able to just, kite back, run away a little bit, you're not going to be able to secure any of those kills.
But fair play to Gala. He is playing his heart out here to try and keep these fights going for RNG. We saw that at Baron where he was able to get the kill on Khan this time around as well, being the instigator for this. And for Gala, who is basically in an interview right now, he's passing this with flying colors.
Yeah, now I want to see kind of where we go next. Ooh, but great slow coming out from New, actually, because pretty sure he would have been dead there. He doesn't even have flash up.
All right, gents, gold's pretty much even. And Channel Crystal Arrow, oh my god. Doomby was on the horizon with Equalizer available. A noble attempt as we watch this one again. Oh,
no.
My god.
Oh, Xiaolong Bao, why?
I will say, though, for all it's considered, that was sick from Tien.
The fadeaway.
In some regard, yeah.
Tien's awesome. This is why, even when we say, oh, Tien doesn't look the exact same as, when he won Worlds, but he's still one of the best jugglers in the LPL. It's great to see, but now moving over, what would be great to see is we keep setting up how FPX want to play through side lanes. But we haven't seen it yet, actually. Even now when they have pressure, it has been a lot more about them pushing out a side, roaming over, and then setting up for a siege. But I guess they did have Baron before, which, makes a bit of sense.
And it's a bit weird to see the Spirit Visage as well for Khan. Look, we already said, hey, look, there's a bunch of AP damage here, but definitely in a side lane, I feel like this earlier Death's Dance could have been a lot better against New. So, I mean, I don't know if Khan is just kind of half committed to, right, I'm going to be needed in team fights.
Yeah, maybe we will see him fulfill it. More of a flanking role. I guess the thing that's all right for him is the fact that he buys this. It's not going to stop the fact that he wins 1v1 against New, so going to be a bit of a non-factor. And if he is forced to group, which, he is going to be forced to group because we have Dragon coming up in a minute 30 and you still don't want RNG to get Soul, that, it could potentially be okay. I'm doing my best to justify it.
In one regard, survives the burst damage that's going to come through from Xiaohu and Gala.
Yep.
But I know you talked about mixed damage before, but a bit of a highlight is Killer Instinct forward. That's a bit of an Uzi play again, but Gala has messed it on up on top of the equalizer and the collateral damage. A flash away from Ming, a 5 versus 4 with Baron up in 15. Christmas on the horizon, it's double flash on top of Xiaohu. RNG cannot be caught napping because FPX will take you down.
Exactly, Hysterics. And if this is the job interview, to me, that is the defining mistake. It looked cool at first, but it obviously did not work out. This might just be the game, honestly.
How? Why? There's so many questions.
Running it down mid, New's going to try and stop this and delay what could be inevitable. Stormbringer in the different direction while LWX clears the wave. Khan 1v2ing as a level 17 Fiora. Super easy while FPX are channeling up mid into the Nexus turrets. A great kick from Xiaolong Bao, but do they have the damage? RNG are burning them down, and FPX are just running it through mid into the Nexus turrets. Ming can only watch as Gala respawns, but the Kaiser ain't at that point to 1v4. It isn't Aphelios, it's a game 3 instead. after FPX take 2.
And RNG did everything correctly in the early game. They got to the point where they were strong. They were finding the opportunity to take these fights. And then it just goes completely